What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? It's your boy Chris. It's your boy Chris. By all means, if you have any type of sessions, anything, any type of questions that you may potentially have, by all means, ask it away, okay? I look forward to eventually teaching, I would say, anybody any questions they have in regards to finance. As a guy who has his MBA and who's taught it for over 20 years, I feel very blessed in the fact that I've helped lots of people reach their financial independence. And more importantly, honestly, everybody, I just look forward to giving my knowledge to the world. That's the reason why I started Financipation right here, as you can see in my hoodie. Change this a little bit. Get the positioning right. Perfect. Additionally, something else too, everybody, I want to kind of go into as well. One of the reasons why I started Financipation is because I got sick and tired, essentially, of people, I guess of seeing family members, rather, work hard their entire life and have pretty much nothing to show for it. To me, nothing was sadder than seeing a person work for 30 or 40 years for a Chrysler, 40 or 50 years for Target, 50, 25 or 30 years for the U.S. Army and the military, and then they retire. They retire dead broke and they retire poor. So in general, everybody, I would say that I think that one of my impetuses for starting Financipation was I got sick and tired of seeing that concept of people work hard their entire life and have nothing to show for it when they get to 55 or 60. Also, it also bothered me too when I would see people who more or less, for lack of a better word, looked like I did, work hard their entire life, and as they got older and older and older, they got sicker and sicker and sicker and poorer and poorer and poorer. Whereas the people who do not look like me, as they got older, they moved into better housing. They had better health care. Their kids went to better schools. Their kids drove foreign cars. Their kids went to private schools. Their grandkids went to better schools. Their grandkids went to college. And I could not understand how is that a person could work hard their entire life and literally have nothing to show for it. And how in the world could a person literally have the exact same job, sitting next to the exact same people, and at the end of the day, one group of individuals got poorer and poorer, and another group of individuals got wealthier and wealthier. And yeah, obviously, I get there is a racial component to everything in America. I get that. But at the end of the day, I said, okay, there has to be a little bit more to this thing than just racism. There has to be a little bit more to this thing than just sexism. There has to be some kind of component where some groups know how money works and other groups do not. And as a result, I started Financipation. So when I finished and got my engineering degree, ended up going back to school after I worked a couple years in corporate America as a mechanical engineer. Hi, do I like bread? I love bread, yes. If you talk about money, I like that even more than the actual physical food product. So yes, I love bread. By all means, my Cash App is Chris $Chris P485. So go ahead and please send me some, okay? So ask away, Ismael. Do you have any questions for me? Ask any financial questions that you have. I have an MBA in finance, and I'm sure I will be able to try to point you in the right direction. All right, cool. Stocks. Okay, what would you like to know about stocks? Yes, I made that behind me. Absolutely. What's up, Edgar? How are you doing, buddy? How are you? How are you? How are you? Cash App is in the thing. Chris P485. By all means, everybody, start sending the Cash Apps, okay? Hey, Con, how are you? How are you, buddy? How are you? Yep, you're right. I am chill as fuck. I can talk all day about finance. I can talk all day about money. I can talk all day about building generational wealth. So absolutely, ask away. Well, you asked about stocks and everything. So the primary method that I use for stocks and everything is this. I look at the stock market as a game, and it's a game where if you learn the rules of that game, more or less, you're going to win. And if you don't know the rules of the game, you're going to lose. So the rules that I'm going to tell you about stocks are simple. When it comes to investing, my personal advice is do your own personal research. Make sure that you take a look at the what the market's doing. Make sure you take a look at. I got more views than I got subscribers. I just gotta stay with it, bro. I just gotta stay with it. But as far as what's the best thing to invest in, so I'll say this. Think of it like this: when you start investing into individual stocks, like let's say Apple, Microsoft, Google, Smith and Wesson, whatever it is that you're into, when you start investing into individual stocks, essentially, as that stock goes up, you make a lot of money. As that stock goes down, you lose a lot of money. So my personal advice is this. If you are going to invest in stocks, it's a lot smarter to invest in the the total stock market. It's best to invest into stocks that essentially that track a specific index. So instead of investing into one stock, you invest into multiple stocks. So if you take a look at indexes and things like that, there's certain indexes that track, for instance, crypto. There's certain indexes that track pharmaceuticals. There's certain index that tracks real estate. And my personal advice is, instead of buying one individual stock, buy an entire index per se. Buy indexes that follow the real estate investment market. Buy stocks that basically follow things such as pharmaceutical laboratories or hospitals or warehouses. Don't just buy individual stocks. Buy total stock market index funds. That's my personal opinion about that. All right, another question. Thanks by the way, Reba, for the chat, everybody. My Cash App is hashtag ChrisP485. Indexes are the big cap, are for big capital investing. No, they're not actually. If you go to Fidelity.com, if you go to Charles Schwab, you can buy partial indexes. What that means is that instead of having to drop $3,000 to actually start a fund, and then having to drop another, let's say $500 to buy an index, you can spend $1 and buy the total indexes that track things like pharmaceuticals and stuff like that. You're right. You don't need to do well. You're right. You can't. You can actually buy $500. You don't need $500 to invest. You need $1. So go to Fidelity.com, go to CharlesSchwab.com, and you can spend $1 and invest in any index that you want. What's the Rockefeller method? Very dope dude. Essentially, it's a real estate. I'm sorry. The Rockefeller method is essentially a waterfall revocable to irrevocable trust method that John D. Rockefeller set up. So what that means is that before his kids died, he set up revocable trust for them. He basically watched what they did. He verified that they were actually living the life that he taught them to live, and if they were, he basically changed that revocable trust into an irrevocable trust. And by changing that irrevocable trust, they were irrevocably linked to his money. So what he did was he gave them a certain amount of money back in the 1930s. And if they proved throughout his lifetime they were worthy of that money, when he died, he left them a trust. And that trust did two things. One, it allowed them to skip the probate, so it allowed them to actually skip and legally not to pay a lot of taxes. And two, more importantly, he started the compounding interest for his kids when they were essentially preteens and some of the young adults. So if you start investing in your early 20s and your early teens, by the time you get to 75 or 80, you would have like 65 years of compounding interest essentially to build up. So as a result, if you invest, let's just say $5 a day from the time that you're 5 years old to the time that you're 70 years old, you will literally die with over 50 million with the M dollars in the bank. So that's essentially what the Rockefeller Trust does. He set up trust for his kids, and then as his kids got older, they set up trust for their kids, which was his grandkids. And as his grandkids got older, they set up trust for their kids, which was Rockefeller's great grandkids. And that thing just kept rolling. So as a result, 100 years after John D. Rockefeller is dead, he still has over 11 billionaires with a B in his family. That's essentially the rough and dirty of the Rockefeller Trust. My personal advice is, if you're serious about it, reach out to a very good investment banker. Reach out to a very good probate lawyer, and they can walk you through how to set up a irrevocable trust. It costs about $10,000 to $15,000. I personally believe that it's worth it, just because at the end of the day, you're gonna make so much money. You're going to save so much money in taxes that it's going to more or less allow you to build generational wealth. So hope I answered your question. Anybody else? Questions? All right, let me put my Cash App in, okay? ChrisP485, $ ChrisP485. So by all means, everybody invest away. Thank you for that, Reba. I appreciate that. Thank you. Keep it moving. Khan family, I'm doing good. Happy to hear that, man. Is starting a YouTube channel okay as a student? Absolutely, starting a YouTube channel is okay as a student. My personal advice is, people ask me, I have a fully monetized channel. Full disclosure, Financipation is fully monetized. Thank God for that. I have a fully monetized channel. People always ask me all the time, how do you create a successful YouTube channel? What are the steps that go into it? And my personal advice, I'll go ahead and answer your question, Uzo, is that you need to be serious about a concept that you're very passionate about talking about. So first and foremost, find a concept that you're passionate about, whether it's politics, whether it's basketball, whether it's shooting firearms, whatever it is. Find a concept that you're very passionate about. You can literally talk to your boys, talk to your girl, talk to your dude hours a day for years on end. Find a concept that you are perfectly comfortable learning about and educating yourself about and talking about for literally hours all the time, and drop content about that content. And drop content about that concept on a consistent basis, whether it's once a week, whether it's 2 times, whether it's once a day, whatever it is that works for you and your schedule. And as you do this, you're going to start slowly but surely building subscribers. You're going to go from 1 subscriber to 2 subscribers to 4 subscribers to 10 subscribers to 20 subscribers to 100 subscribers. And one day you got to have over 1,000 subscribers. Once you get to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, you can monetize your channel. I would highly advise any college student that's serious about doing that to start a YouTube channel, just because when you have a monetized YouTube channel, it's one of the best forms of passive income. I literally have made videos from almost 3 years ago now that I get paid off of, and I've done literally no work on them in 3 years. So my personal advice is yes, YouTube is definitely a very good way to stack your papers, a very good way to make your money. And by all means, it's a good way to become an expert, a subject matter expert, because when people start asking you questions about what you're podcasting about, you had better have the answers, because if you don't, they're going to go to someone else. So thanks for the question, Uzo. Appreciate it. What's the best thing to invest in? I think I've already said that. Why am I sad? That's why I got more views and subscribers. That means you just got to stick with it, youth brother. I mean, it's simple as that. If you got more views and subscribers, then don't worry about it. My advice is continue making quality content. It took me over a year or two to monetize my channel, but I love talking about finance. I love talking about building generational wealth. I love talking about real estate. I love talking about property. I love talking about land. I love talking about reading the stock market. I love talking about setting up derivatives. I love talking about creating businesses. So for me, this is something that I can do just in my sleep. I can do it just like I love lifting weights and playing ball. I can talk about basketball or football all day, every day. I can talk about stocks, building generational wealth, and making money all day. So find something that you're passionate about and just talk about that. Got you. In regards to the Bitcoin and the crypto thing, I'm not a big crypto guy. I personally don't invest a very large percentage of my portfolio into it. Everybody has their own take on crypto. Me personally, it's not something I put a lot of money into. So yep, keep them coming. Keep the questions coming, everybody. What other questions do you guys have for me? What other questions? Keep it coming. Keep it coming. So one of the things that I was actually looking at prior to this podcast, prior to going live with all you good folks, was just essentially how with this new election coming up, more or less how it's going to probably affect your finances in 2025. Full disclosure, I do not talk politics per se on my live chats. I will do them on some of my Patreons if you guys start asking for it. But in general, in 2025, people are asking, okay, what are some things that you should start looking for, I guess, proverbially in President-elect Donald Trump's economy? So I would just say in regards to that, there are a couple different ways you can more or less thrive in any economy, whether you have a Democrat, whether you're a Republican, heck, whether you live in another country. There's certain things you can do in any economy, everybody, if you want to thrive and survive in that economy. So one of the first things somebody was asked, so when this person asked me this question, one of the first things I told them essentially was that if these quote unquote tariffs are actually going to go into effect, which it looks like they're going to, in regards to China, Mexico, and Europe essentially getting hit with tariffs, those countries are more or less just going to simply throw the cost of those tariffs directly back onto Walmart, Costco, Food Lion, Giant, and places like that. And they're going to throw those costs directly back on us as the American people. So what that means is that the shoes that you buy, the cell phones that you purchase, anything that you buy from Walmart, if they get, if China, because Walmart imports 70% of their goods from China, if China gets hit with a 60% tariff, which is what President-elect Donald Trump is talking about, they're going to simply throw that 60% directly back into the American people. So your jeans are going to cost more, your oatmeal is going to cost more, your eggs are going to cost more, your food is going to cost more. So my personal advice to anybody is that if you're listening to this, make sure you have a fully stocked emergency fund going into 2025. And the reason why I say that is because if everything is going to start costing a lot more money, you want to make sure that you have more liquid cash essentially to be able to throw around. And that's one thing. Secondly, according to what I'm reading right before I got on the live, was that President-elect Donald Trump is talking about putting a 40 to 60% tariff on Canada. And Canada, I don't know if you know this, actually imports 60% of the gasoline that we use in this country. The crude oil that we get that turns into gasoline, Canada actually supplies 60% of that, and Mexico supplies 10% of it. So as a result, Mexico and Canada, who are about to get hit with a 60% tariff, if President like Donald Trump is to be believed, that means our gas is going to be 70% more expensive next year. Why? Because when Mexico and Canada get hit with that 70% tariff, they're simply going to throw that cost directly back onto us as the American consumer. So my personal advice is, once again, bump up your emergency fund. If you currently have a 3-month emergency fund, my advice is save your money, cut back on the Netflix, cut back on some of your partying and everything, and basically put your money into a higher interest account. And if you do that, what's going to happen is you're going to have more discretionary income to spend for stuff like gas, food, and things of that nature. So that's the first way that I would tell you to quote unquote thrive in Trump's economy. The next thing I'll say is this: is that like I said earlier, whether it's a Democrat or a Republican in the White House, your job is to take full advantage of the stock market and to invest into the stock market. And by investing into the stock market, you have to do your own research about what indexes to go into, what mutual funds to purchase, what REITs to buy, what ETFs to buy, what bonds to buy. Because at the end of the day, if the economy tanks because of these tariffs or because of the mass deportations or whatever it is, you should be to some extent happy, because if it tanks, it's like buying eggs or buying clothes when they're on sale. When the economy does bad, all the good stocks go down. And if all the good stocks go down, that's a perfect time to buy them. It's no different from a convenience store, department store closing, and you walking in and basically buying a fresh pair of Jordans for $50 because they were $250 and they got to sell them or they're going to be on the street. It's the same way with stocks. When the economy is down, you want to essentially buy a heck of a lot of stocks. Secondly, if the economy does do well because of the deportations and these tariffs and everything, congratulations. All those stocks that you bought are going to skyrocket. They're going to go up. So whether, as I said earlier, you have a Democrat or a Republican in the White House, you need to basically invest your money properly. I personally push through Financipation. I personally push people buying into the stock market. I push them basically buying property, land, and real estate. Specifically, I push index funds, mutual funds, and things of that nature, bond and the S&P 500. Secondly, the next way to thrive in Donald Trump's economy is to basically get serious about your retirement accounts. So I don't care whether you're 18, whether you're 68, it does not matter. You need to get serious about basically investing into your Roth IRA, your 401k, and your HSA accounts, your health savings accounts. And if you invest into those accounts, you are always going to basically have a lovely nest egg that's going to allow you to retire with dignity and respect. So once again, whether it was Trump, whether it was Kamala Harris, whether it's Joe Biden, whether it's Barack Obama, whoever, you need to basically invest into your 401k, your Roth IRA, and your HSA over the next 4 to 5 years, period. Another thing I'll say too in regards to the economy and everything, I talked about the fully stocked emergency fund. I talked about investing into your Roth IRA, your 401k, and your HSA account. Another way to essentially kind of get ahead of this economy is that if you drive a lot, whether it's for your corporate America career or you drive a lot, let's say one of those kind of guys who work out of state and you drive possibly an hour to get to and from work one way, it may not be a bad idea to buy a used, and I'm gonna harp on that, a used hybrid vehicle or a used car that gets about 55 to 60 miles per gallon. The reason why I say this is it gets me back to my original point that I was making. If President-elect Donald Trump does in fact put a 60% tariff on Mexico and on Canada, they're going to and 70% of our oil comes from those two countries that basically border us. That means Mexico and Canada essentially are going to throw the cost of those tariffs directly back onto us in the form of higher and more expensive gas. So just expect the price of gas to go up about 75 to 80 cents per gallon all across America next year if Trump's tariffs go through. If that's the case, people, you want to get ahead of this. You want to buy a used hybrid vehicle or a used car, fuel efficient vehicle that gets about 50 to 60 miles per gallon if you drive, let's say, 400 or 500 miles a week every day to work. Or if you drive 1,000 miles a week every day to work. Why? Because if the cost of gasoline goes up, you want to make sure that you have a vehicle that's fuel efficient. And the last point I'm going to say is this as well, everybody. Just because I don't see any other questions that are kind of popping up. The next way to thrive in Trump's 2025 economy is to stay invested into the market. What you do not want to do is this. Let's say these deportations come in and the market tanks. Let's say these tariffs come in and the market tanks. Let's say the cabinet picks come in and they just wreck the economy and everything is falling, the sky is falling, and you're watching CNBC and Fox Financial Media News, and you're watching other emblems, and they're basically saying, sell your stock now. Everything is bad. You want to sell now because the economy is tanking. Ignore that trash advice, everybody. You want to be a long-term investor. You want to be the type of guy or type of gal that invest your money and you keep your money in the stock market literally for decades. Literally, don't even consider taking it out. Invest your money and leave it there for decades. And the reason why is simple. Study after study after study after study show that over the 100-year period that the U.S. Stock market has essentially been around since basically like the 1920s, essentially since the 1930s, to say from the Great Depression, stocks that basically stay in the market for more than 10 years typically make money. Sometimes a lot of money, sometimes a little bit of money. But typically speaking, people that invest their money 5 or more years make money in the stock market. What that means, everybody, is this. If you are a long-term investor and you are investing your money into the stock market, that means that your money is going to gradually but continually increase. Having said that, if you're the type of person that gets scared and you sell your stock, or you're trying to be a day trader, or you're basically buying stock and selling it, people that do that typically lose a lot of money compared to those of us that are long-term investors. And more importantly, if you sell an asset and you make a capital gain, the federal government is going to tax you on it. What that means is that if you're selling your stocks, not only are you putting yourself at a strategic disadvantage because you're selling your stocks and you're losing money, you also are going to be paying a heck of a lot more in taxes. So be a long-term investor, everybody. Regardless of what happens with the economy in 2025, I have my own personal opinions about what's going to happen once a lot of these policies from President like Donald Trump comes into play. I'll talk about that more on Patreon. But once these policies go into play, if the economy starts to tank, do not sell your stock. Stay in this thing and ride it out for the long haul. And by the long haul, I mean for decades, okay? All right, everybody, I wanted to go live really quickly and everything. I don't see any more questions coming up, so going once, going twice. Anyone else have any questions you want to ask me? Edgar Gonzalez, pennies then. Nah, bro, keep your stock in there. If you have a daughter, right, and when she's born, if you put $200 into a Roth account, or into some type of brokerage account, and you basically put $200 every month into that account, and let's say you pass say you die 65 years later, your little girl who you basically have been putting $200 every month into her account for 66 years would have 40 million with the M dollars waiting for her in retirement if she got a 12% return on the investment that you made. So it may seem like pennies, but if you got $1, invest $1. If you got $5, invest $5. If you got $10, invest $10. If you got $1,000, invest $1,000. Continually invest your money and just watch compound interest grow and grow and grow. And over the decades, you will be a decade millionaire. It's as simple as that. All right, everybody. Any other questions? Any other comments? Going once, going twice. You look chill as fuck. I like that. You're right, I am, because I'm talking about something that I love that I could talk about all day, and I'm very, very, very good at it. So, yep. No doubt. I was about to say something rude, but I didn't. All right, glad you didn't say anything rude. I know. Cool. All right, no doubt. All right, everybody. It's your boy Chris. I'm out. I'm gonna start trying to go live at least once a week. I'm gonna pick probably a Tuesday or a Wednesday night and figure that one out. But all right, take it easy, everybody. Peace. Share this on the gram and keep it moving.